Welcome back, songwriters, and today I'm really excited because I got to interview a master of GarageBand for your iPhone and iPad. Pete Johns is the founder of Studio Live Today, where he has hundreds of videos showing you how to create, how to record, and release your best music using your phone or your iPad. Pete and I have grown into friends over the last year or so, and we finally made time to sit down with each other and chat, and I'm excited because I want to connect you to Pete as a resource if you're making music in GarageBand on your iPhone and iPad. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, here is Pete Johns.
Thanks so much, Dean. Great to be here, my friend, and love your work. Always keen to have a chat.
Yeah, ditto. So I just want to dote on you for a minute, Pete, and say that, I would really call you like a master of GarageBand iOS. And people ask me all the time, like, well, how do I do this on my iPhone or my iPad? And I know some of that, but usually I just put a link to your YouTube channel. I'm like, go check this guy out. I mean, he's got like just detailed, really practical, really useful teachings on GarageBand iOS. And so I really appreciate that you do that and you offer that to people. And I'll also say, just kind of a fun fact, like you helped me in getting started on YouTube as I think I had 300 subscribers at the time. Not that I have many more than that, but I had 300 at the time, and you were helping me with just some YouTube banner and some things like this. And hey, did you know if you did this? And so I really appreciated that. I think at the time maybe you had 700 subscribers, and so it's just cool. It felt like I had a comrade in the mix, and so I know that you're helpful. I know that you have great content, so I'm really excited to have you on, and I hope I'm not making you blush, Pete.
Oh, you are, but that's okay. You can't really tell. But no, I appreciate it, and I do remember that because back in the early days, I was looking around and I was saying, hey, there's a bunch of other people making GarageBand content, and there was like Lewin doing GarageBand and Beyond, and then there was Patrick doing the GarageBand Guide, and then I saw, hey, this songwriting studio, and I'm like, oh, and he's using GarageBand, so I was super excited to see your content, and like you say, at that time, both of us were sort of starting out, and I'm like, hey, I learned this stuff from other people. I'm like, I'm gonna see if I can pay it forward and if there's anything I can do to help out. So I threw a few tips your way, but then you just went boom and you took off and you're doing your thing now, which is great to see.
Yeah, it was very helpful. So I would love for you to tell people, how did you get into recording and producing music and releasing music from your phone? Because it's a unique thing. I mean, it's kind of only been in the last few years that it's even become a possibility. But I've heard your stuff. It's awesome, and I don't think I would ever gather that it was done on a phone. So kind of what started that process for you, and how did you get into making music on your phone?
Yeah, it was an interesting one because I think like many of us, we start out recording and we get into sort of the digital recording world. And I started recording on my PC. I used a program called Cakewalk Music Creator way back when, 10 years plus ago. And I'd record on it and it was okay. But I went down that there was too much going on. There was too many options. There was too many things to do. And I'd create music and then I'd spend all this time tweaking settings and changing things around. And I just remember thinking at the time, there's got to be a simpler, easier way to do this. And at that time, I'm like, I keep seeing this logo on my phone and on my iPad at the time. And I'm like, what's this GarageBand all about? I know it's a program on the Mac, and I know a lot of people use it to create music. I'm like, I'm going to learn it. So you jump onto YouTube, and I'm like, GarageBand for iOS, and it was like crickets. There was a couple of videos from Patrick over at GarageBand Guy. There was a few from the sound test room that was doing it at the time there, and there was not much else in the way of tutorials around getting started with GarageBand. So I thought, hey, I'm going to not only start creating my music using GarageBand, but I'm like, let's document this process. So at the time, I'm like, I'm going to record an EP. Like, why not? I've never recorded an EP before, and I'm going to do it on my phone because why not? Like, let's just try this. So that was my first EP, recorded it all in GarageBand, released it, and then, like I say, documented the whole process as I went along and learned a bunch of stuff, and then realized that, hey, a heap of other people don't have all the gear, they don't have all the know-how, but they got an iPhone, they got an iPad, they want to record as well. So that was kind of the start of it all. And then I just enjoyed it so much that, quite honestly, I thought, I don't really want to go back to the complex world. I don't want to go
Yeah.
back to having to spend time learning something new. I just learned how to use this program. It was simple, it worked for my workflow, I got a good sound. So that was it, kept using it.
Yeah, that's so awesome. And it's so cool because so many people have an iPhone with GarageBand on it. They see that little icon and they're like, okay, I know this does something, has something to do with making music, and they might mess around and do a little thing, but they don't realize that you can make a serious project using
Mm,
that program. And what's cool about it, like you're saying, is at least for me, I love having a sense of mastery when I'm in a program. I don't like feeling like I'm in this giant ocean that has endless
mm.
options. And it's like, it's kind of like where I record. It's usually just in a bedroom. I want to feel like I can master that space because that's when I start to feel really creative. And I don't know if you're that way, but I feel like a lot of people are that way. Too many options actually can limit our creativity at times. And so I don't know. I just think it's really cool that you can pick up your phone and make an album. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, and you're right. It is cool, and I think you're exactly right. And I found the same sort of problems, and is that yeah, having too many options, I felt exactly the same way. That I'm like, I don't know where to start. It's a blank canvas is good if you've been doing it for 20
Sure.
years, but when
Right.
you're just starting out, you got a song idea in your head, you want to just start recording. Having GarageBand and just firing it up and saying, oh, here's my guitar. I'll press the guitar button. There's a picture of a
Yeah.
guitar,
Yeah.
and then I'll play my guitar. I just love the simplicity of that workflow, and it really works for
Yeah.
me.
And it's so cool because, like you said, I think there's tons of people out there who are asking the same questions you were asking. Because I've looked up some of your videos and I was like, oh my gosh, that video has over 100,000 views because people really want to know. There's a lot of people who have a phone with GarageBand on it. So, from your process, in the last few years of making music on iPhone, what would you say is your biggest accomplishment or something, a project that you're most proud of?
Yeah, so last year I recorded an album. So after I did the EP, I recorded a couple of singles, and then I sat down and thought, I really want to record an album. And I know albums are not very cool these days, and everything's about singles and maybe EPs. But I'm like, there's something about I was sort of coming towards being old. I'm like, by the time I'm 40, I want to have an album out there in the world of my music. And
Nice.
yeah, I've sort of started doing singer songwriter songs, and a few of them came together, and I eventually ended up with 12 songs. And I'm like, okay, here's 12 songs. I've recorded them all in GarageBand on iOS, and let's see if we can mix and master and edit these down and create an album. So that was a process over a couple of months that it took me to
Yeah.
to do all of that. I documented on the channel again
Yeah.
to go
Yeah.
through that process, and again, I really wanted to show people that you don't need all the gear, you don't need all of the equipment, you don't need all of the know-how even. You just need to be able to write good songs and write songs that connect with people. And the title of the album, Selfish Aware, was kind of what I was sort of thinking at the moment is I was going through this self-awareness sort of phase, and sort of the selfish aware sort of points to the fact that I think I was aware of what I was doing and I was aware of
Yeah.
how I was doing, but selfish, not in the term of being selfish, but of being mostly aware, but being appreciative of that you won't always be aware of everything. You don't know everything. Life is a lifelong learning experience. So yeah, I think it all connected well with me learning myself how to do it and creating the album, releasing the album, and it was a whirlwind, but it was an amazing thing. And I look back on that now, and like all of us, you look back on your songs, and you're like, oh, I would change that. I'd tweak that.
Right.
That bass
Right.
is too
Right.
heavy. There's so many things I'd change, but the beauty part is it's released, it's out there, and I can keep working on my music. And it's like a time capsule now that I can go, hey, that was me in August 2018.
Right.
Now I'm here in
Right. Yeah.
2019. I'm a different person, but I can at least
Yes.
look back on what I did there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. So from that experience, and obviously you've been teaching people and training people in how to do this as well, but through your experience of doing it yourself, and then through the experience of being able to share it with other people online, what would you say is your biggest piece of advice, or maybe a few of your biggest pieces of advice for people getting started in GarageBand on their phone?
Yeah, so what I say is when you don't know where to start, just start. So I think it's easy to make excuses of why you shouldn't start because I
Yeah,
don't have a microphone, I don't have an audio interface, I don't have the right equipment, I don't have a good enough guitar. All of those things are reasons why you can't do things, why you shouldn't start. But when you don't know when to start, you're just like, oh, how do I actually do this?
yeah,
Just start, just hit record and get going. So the beauty part of having an iPad or an iPhone is that it's a digital audio workstation, it's a microphone, it's a
yeah,
speaker. You can plug a pair of headphones into this thing, a $10 pair of earbuds, and you can mix and master an entire
yeah,
song. So that's what I say to people is that there's actually zero reason why you can't get started, and there's every reason why you can actually get started. And the second piece of advice there is to not be afraid. I know you've said this in other videos, and you probably agree with this sort of mantra as well, but don't be afraid of writing terrible music. And that might
yeah,
sound like a
yeah,
negative comment, but it's actually a really positive thing because your first song is not going to be your best song.
yeah,
It's probably not going to be something that you're proud of, and it's probably not going to be something that you're going to want to share with other people. But your 10th song probably
yeah,
is. And your 20th
exactly.
song is going to be killer. So
Yeah,
you
that's
need to
awesome.
sort of start somewhere. And every single artist, so there's an old saying that like, it took me 25 years to become an overnight success. So
Yeah,
even the people that you look at that you're like, wow, that person just came out of nowhere and suddenly they're famous, they've been grinding it out. Very few
right.
people just write a song, record it, release it, like, hey, here's a Grammy, and they walk away. There's a lot of hard work behind it. So the best time to start is right now. Start with you, just hit record and start writing, and doesn't matter what it sounds like, it will get better, you will improve, you'll
Yeah,
continue to learn.
that's really good. That's really good. And I think you'll enjoy the process too. Like
Hmm.
thinking about it can be intimidating, but doing it can be a lot of fun. And you're like, man, I just made a song and it sounds pretty good, and the next one sounded even better. So I love that. That's
Exactly. And having GarageBand, I think, and I've mentioned this before, but when you've got GarageBand and you've got the presets, like it's designed to make it sound okay. So
yeah, yeah,
even if you're doing it and you need to throw a bit of that pitch control on there to tame your voice in, or you need to use the presets, or you need to use the chord function in there, like they're the things that can actually help you because you don't need to do this all from scratch. And there's no shame in using loops. There's no shame in
right,
using samples, virtual instruments, all of these things. Like look at every pop song that's created
right,
today. Are they all
right.
in 30-piece orchestras all playing real instruments? No, they're not. They're using loops, they're using samples. So don't be afraid of just saying, hey, I'm just going to throw it together. If it sounds cool, it is cool and it's good
Right,
music.
right. That's awesome. So good. So you have tons of really, really good resources on the writing side, on the recording side, on the mixing side. I really, like you said, the whole entire process. And I've watched some of these. And I'm like, he's showing me how to do automation in GarageBand on my phone. That is insane. This is on YouTube. So where can people find some of these really good resources if they're trying to make music on their phone? How do they connect with you?
Yeah, so if folks head over to studiolivetoday.com, that's my kind of home on the web. So from there, you can connect to the YouTube channel, where, as you said, I've got a heap of video, more than 500 videos at the moment,
Jeez, that is
about
awesome.
GarageBand, about songwriting, about creating process as well. And I've got a bunch of other stuff. I've got my blog there. I've got my gear guide. So if you are looking to sort of level up your gear and buy a microphone or an interface to go along with that, and all of the different guides that I have about how to connect things. So that's the cool thing about
Perfect.
your phone is that people think, oh, how do I use an audio interface or a microphone? Well, that you can get an adapter, you plug in, and you're
Yeah,
away. So, yeah, if people head over to studiolivetoday.com, search around there, dig around. There's plenty there to keep you busy.
awesome. Thanks. Well, I'm going to put that in the link, or excuse me, the link in the description for sure. And even the video that you just mentioned, that was one of the ones, maybe how I found you, I can't remember, but at least one of the ones that I watched and was so intrigued by and have shared with other people is even how do you connect an interface to your iPad or iPhone? What little connectors? Like I haven't seen any other videos out there on how to do that. And so you've got great videos on that. So again, if you're looking to record, produce your own stuff from your iPhone, please go check out Pete. You'll thank yourself for checking him out. So Pete, thank you for coming on, and I really, really appreciate the content that you give and just how you're always trying to help people. So thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Dean. Been a pleasure, sir.
All right, we'll see you soon. I hope you all enjoyed that chat with Pete. And really, like I said at the beginning, it's not even about our conversation as much as it is about me connecting you to Pete as a resource for making songs in GarageBand iOS. So if nothing else, I want you to go check out Pete and consider him a fantastic resource for making music in GarageBand on your iPhone and iPad. I will catch you in the next video. Thanks for tuning in. Woo! Another drink of water.
Yeah, let's do that.